lots of them, add, subtract, multiply, and divide. The first step is always, I call it math like math class. So nothing funky there. You can always have a calculator. In our virtual world, you can use your phone, that's fine. Internet browser, anything. So step one is math like math class. Step two is where we get to the Sig Fig bit, where we're gonna round to show amount of confidence in our answer. So, and feel free to drop in if you have questions about anything. Yeah. So today we're doing Sig Fig's math with Sig Figs. We just said that yesterday we looked at Sig Fig's, as of now, your numbers show amount, but also confidence of the measuring tool. Starting today, we're getting into math. So we're gonna do adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. We'll do adding and subtracting first. Step one, math like math class. Step two, round to show confidence of your answer. And again, this is just what you could see in the original tool. When you're adding and subtracting, keep all place values where you have confidence in all of your starting numbers. So keep the place values where you have confidence in your starting numbers. So you may be thinking to yourself, okay, there's going to be some place values where we have confidence and some where we don't have confidence. Exactly. We're going to figure out which ones do have confidence, which ones don't. This is just a little thing. Big place values have kind of implied confidence. We don't even need to write that. We'll just do that a whole bunch. Big place values, if we can see the smaller stuff, we're going to assume we could also see the big stuff, and we'll keep the big place values. It's the little place values where we get into this. When we round using the biggest place value, we do not have confidence in. So round using, this is kind of A, B, round using the biggest place value. That does not have confidence. And to give that a little bit more, the biggest place value that does not have a significant figure in both starting numbers. Okay, today is a day where you write down some notes. You get to this point, you may be thinking, I have no idea what this means. So we'll do some examples, and we're gonna just say these words a bunch as we do the examples, and as we see a few, you'll see. Okay. Okay, let's do it. Let's do 284 plus 73.9241.6. Okay, and I kind of even set this up for you, like this one here. You can kind of already see that one of these numbers can just measure a lot more detail than the other one can. Basically what we're doing here is we're saying if we can't see that level of detail in both numbers, we're not going to keep it in our answer, because we can't see that level of detail in this number at all. So when we go to write the answer, it's almost like we don't know. This tool couldn't see this level of detail, so we're not going to keep it around. Great, let's just do the calculator step. So you add 284, this is just like math class, 284. You do not need a fancy calculator. You could type this into Google and it would be great. 92416, okay. Calculator says 357.92416. Okay. You could do that in your head or not, or okay. That was step 1, math like math class. Step 2, we're gonna look at the place values and start to ask the question, which place values can we see in all of our starting numbers and which place values can we not see? So I just drew lines to show where the place values are. Here's your rounding step. You're gonna say, in the hundreds place, do I have confidence in my hundreds place? It's big. Yes, you do. If we can see all this other mumbo jumbo, we could definitely see something this big. You have confidence in your hundreds place. Under your tens place, that's a significant number. That's a significant number. We'll keep your answer in the tens place. Move to your ones place. Here you've got a 4 plus 3. Those are both significant numbers. Equals 7. We have significant numbers in all of the starting numbers in the ones place. So we will keep the ones place in the answer. The tenths place, we do not have a number there. It's blank, you know. This tool could not see the tenths place at all. There's no number there. Because there's no significant number here, when we do this in class, I'll sometimes just put an X here because like there's nothing there. There's no number there. There's no significant number. We are not going to keep this place value in our final answer because we don't know. We can't see this. This tool couldn't see that detailed at all. So even though this one could, we can't report it. We can't see it. It's not confident. We're going to round using the biggest place value that does not have a significant figure in a starting number. In this example here, it's the tenths place that does not have a significant number. We're going to round using the tenths place. Okay. When you round 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 down, and round 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 up. This is a 9. 9's going to round up. This 9 rounds up the number right before it, the 7. And your final answer is there. Did that make some sense? Would you like another example like this, or would you like the rest of the notes and then a ton of examples? I'm going to do a few more notes and then a ton of examples, unless anybody has any other things they want. Multiplying and dividing is actually easier, which is kind of nice. So Sig Fig's
It looks like somebody would like to have another example like the one we just did.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's do more examples. Yeah, we're gonna do some more adding and subtracting examples. Great. Okay, let's do that one. If we were in class together, we'd do whiteboard games and we'd just like throw questions to each other back and forth and back and forth. So we can kind of try to do it like that here, which is to say anything you're thinking, feel free to jump in and share that. I'm gonna give you the calculator number. Don't worry about finding a calculator right now. Plus 6.9, and your calculator says 952.13. If anybody's really bold, you could like say, I'm gonna ask questions, but if you want to like think out loud, that would be awesome. Let's just start with our biggest place value. Do we have confidence in our hundreds place? Yeah. Yes. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's a big place value. We can see this littler stuff. We can definitely see that. Yes, we have confidence in the hundreds place. Do we have confidence in the tens place? Yeah, that's also a big place value. Well, if we can see the littler stuff, we can see the big stuff. Confidence in the tens place. Do we have confidence in the ones place? Yes. Agree. Yes. Awesome. This works really well. I can't see all the not emojis, whatever these things are, but awesome, and typing is awesome, and thank you, because it's helpful, because then I know where you're at in your process. Great, and I agree with you. Totally. We've got significant figures in all of our starting numbers in our ones place, so we have confidence in our ones place. Do we have confidence in our tenths place? Agree. Yeah, we can see our tenths place. We've got confidence in the tenths place. We have significant numbers in both of our starting numbers, so we'll keep the tenths place in our answer. How about our hundredths place? Do we have confidence in our hundredths place? I just realized I don't know if you have a, can you vote thumbs down? Oh, we're thinking yes. Okay. So we'll check our starting numbers, and we have a significant number in this number, and do we have a significant number right here? No, we don't. There's nothing written there. There's no significant number there at all. So if there's no significant number there, do we know what this is? In math class, we would. Here, it's, I'm trying to think of a decent example. It's it's this tool is just not able to see this at all. It's like if you've got a water bottle, here we go, one sec. If you've got a water bottle and it has some measurements on it, but not a lot, you know, this is an Nalgene with like the little tick marks on the side. So if we want to know how much water is here, we could look at those tick marks and say, well, it's kind of in between, you know, it's kind of in between 3 and 4-ish, somewhere in there. But could I figure out how many, you know, would I know that there's like 0.01 milliliters of water in here? I just don't, with these little marks, I can see some detail, but I can't see a lot of detail. So it's as if I was measuring something more precise, like imagine a beaker in a lab or a tool in a lab with lots of little lines on it. And then I just dumped in some water from this into the other cup. And I was like, well, you know, I dumped like about 100 milliliters in or something. And it's kind of in this place that we're kind of thinking. It's like how much can we actually see versus how much can we not see? You know, this number can't even see, it doesn't have the lines, like it can't see to the hundredths place. So even though in math class you would keep this number because, you know, like math numbers are pure and there's nothing, you know, you don't have to worry about the real world in math class, and you can interpret the real world with math, totally. But here when we're like measuring actual objects, there's some things that we know and some things that we don't know. And in this case, we just don't, you could put a question mark right there. We don't know what that number is because we couldn't see it. I sometimes draw little eyes, and like y'all probably make much nicer eyes than I do. But if you're looking at that number, you can't see it. There's nothing there to see. There's no number there. It could be an 8, it could be a 2. You can't see it on your actual tool. So when we get here, since we can't see it, we don't know. You may have heard of uncertainty and stuff like that. This is an area where we can't see it and we don't know, and we can't report it if we don't see it. So when we go to write our final answer, since this number is a question mark, we'll use it to round, and then it goes into this realm of the unknown, basically, because we couldn't see this place value up here. So we're going to round it away here. 3 will round down. And your final answer is that. I wish they gave you a thumbs down also, because I think on Zoom you can only say thumbs up. Would you like another example like that, or let's do one more example like that. We'll do minus this time. Don't worry about your calculator. Although, like, later on you will, you know, I'm just going to give you this number for now. So your calculator says this. I'm just going to make this one nicer. And maybe I did. Let's figure it out. Is this one nicer? Here are your place values. do we have confidence in our thousands place? Always start with the biggest place value. Pro tip, your biggest place value will always have confidence because you can see all of the smaller stuff. Keep the big stuff. How about your hundreds place? Do we have significant numbers in all starting places in the hundreds place? Nine is significant, 3 is significant. Those are both significant numbers. We'll keep our hundreds place. How about our tens place? We've got a 0 and a 2. Now we're back to our 0 rules. These are end zeros with no decimal. They are, I'll write that, end zeros, no decimal. No decimal, they are not significant. Without that decimal, it's kind of like saying, I don't know, you know, I can't really see. I know it's the size of 1,900, but there's no decimal there. I don't really know what that is, because again, it's too small, I can't see it with this tool. As soon as you hit a question mark, that whole place value, when you're adding and subtracting, that whole place value turns into a question mark. So even though this other thing could see all this stuff, doesn't matter. The biggest place value that you have a question mark, round with that place value. 7's rounds up. That 7 will round up. So 5 will become a 6, and you've got it's hard to know on Zoom how these are going. What do you think? Does this make some sense? Is this question mark deal kind of, you know, the biggest place value where you do not have confidence? That's where you're going to round. I'm noticing too, if we're in class, I start having you guys teach each other around now, because everybody has like understood a different part, and like as you can say it to each other, you can start to like start to build your parts off of each other. Let's show you multiplying and dividing. And as you think of questions, even though it is virtual, if you're thinking a question, there's a really good chance that like other people are thinking the same question, and feel free to ask. Let's do Sig Figs. Multiply and divide. Math like math class. Round using your Sig Figs. Here, count how many Sig Figs each number starts with. Keep the smaller number of Sig Figs in your answer. keep the biggest place values. Round using the biggest place value you're not going to keep. Okay. Again, here's about the place where you're like, even if I'm writing this down, I'm not sure. Let's do some examples. Do a few examples here too. Is that enough? I'm just gonna go for it. Do some examples. Your question, there's your calculator answer. To round, step 1, count how many sig figs each number starts with. Well, 32 has 2 sig figs. 4 has 1 sig fig. Check that off the list. Count how many each starts with. Keep the smaller number of sig figs in your answer. Between 2 and 1. 1 is smaller. Don't overthink it. You've got 2 numbers, 2 and 1. 1 is smaller. You're going to keep 1 sig fig in your answer. We figured that out because you started with a number with 1 sig fig, therefore your answer, you're going to round so that you have 1 sig fig. Keep the biggest place value. Round using the biggest place value you don't keep. This should be an S. Keep the biggest place values. Round using the biggest place value you don't keep. Okay. We are going to keep 1 place value. We're going to keep the biggest place value. We're going to round using the biggest place value you don't keep. That's a 2. 2 rounds down. You're kind of saying, is 128 closer to 100 or closer to 200? It's closer to 100. You kept 1 sig fig, the biggest place value. Round using the biggest place value you don't keep. 2 is little, it rounds down. Your final answer is 100. And it looks weird because your math teacher would go nuts because you rounded so much. But here we can only see 1 place value in one of the numbers we're starting with. If you've got some number like this where you can see all this great detail, but you're going to divide it by 7 or something like that, right away, even though this has 5 significant figures, you can see 5 place values in that. You can only see 1 place value there. Your answer, we haven't even punched this into a calculator, your answer will have 1 sig fig because this tool just is not very clear. It only shows you 1 place value. And oops, where did this end? So your calculator says, and if you've ever taken a math class and wondered how much of that junk do you have to keep around, like how many decimal places do you care about, this is the magic moment where you're like, since these are the numbers I started with, and I'm dividing and this one only has one sig fig, my answer is going to have one sig fig total. I'm going to round using the biggest place value I don't keep, and we're going to report an answer that looks like that. All those other numbers from your calculator are math numbers. Math is pure. Since we're measuring, we don't have this level of confidence at all. We can only see one place value or one significant figure. We're only going to keep one sig fig in the answer. Let's give you one where your answer has a few more sig figs. No, I'm going to do dividing. No, multiply is fine. Okay. I'm just going to calculator 132.489 times 73.8. Oh, that's kind of a cool looking number. This was random. 977768882. That sounds like a phone number. Okay. Let's figure out what of that we care about and what we don't. This number has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sig figs. This number has 1, 2, 3 sig figs. 3 is smaller than 6. You're going to keep the smaller number there. 3 is smaller than 6. Keep 3 in your answer. Keep the biggest 3 place values, 1, 2, 3. Round using the biggest place value you're not going to keep. 7 is big, rounds up. Your answer has 3 significant figures. You rounded using the biggest place value you're not going to keep. 7 rounded up. 77 is closer to 80 than it is to 70. I'm thinking we could do 2 of your homework questions all together right here. Or we can do like tons more examples. What would we like? More, and the homework questions are examples also. Okay. Let's do. Pulling up what the actual questions are. Sig Fig practice. Okay. We did number 3 and number 8 together. Type it in, 38.477. Okay. And that one is adding and subtracting. This is a place values question. Keep your big place values. We have confidence in the tens. It's big. All right, we've got a number in every one of the ones places. Keep the ones. Go to the tenths. In the tenths place, we have a 5, a 5, a 9. Those are all significant. Keep the tenths place. In the hundredths place, we've got 7, 7, 3. Those are all significant. Keep the tenths place. In the hundredths place, you've got a 7 blank 2. That blank, we don't know. There's your question mark. Round using the first place value you're not confident in, the first place that you have a question mark. 9 is big, that will round up. And you're going to report the number, keep all of this, and your 9 is going to round up your 7, 2, and 8. And number 8, you get 6003. I'm going to give you the 2 practice questions that are in the videos so that you have like everything that the videos have. Here's number 8. This is a multiply question, so we're looking at how many sig figs. Calculator says and you say, I know significant figures now, so I know that some of those numbers just don't cut it. We can't see that far. The calculator can't come up with new confidence. We've got 4 sig figs in this number. This is multiplying and dividing, so we'll use the number of numbers style. This one, these are middle zeros, so they are confident. We've got 4 sig figs there. This number also has 4 sig figs. This number only has 2 sig figs. Your options are 4 and 4 and 2. 2 is the smallest number. You're going to keep 2 sig figs in your final answer. Keep the biggest 2 place values. Round with the biggest place value you're not going to use. Since you're only keeping 2 sig figs, none of the rest of that is reportable at all. 2 rounds down, you've got a final answer of something. We're gonna fill in all of these as zeros. None of them are significant zeros. There's no decimal. This all falls into the question mark realm because we only know 2 sig figs. The rest of it we can't see. So we will report that as our answer. I'm gonna stop the screen share. Where would you like to go next? Would you like more examples? Do you have any like things that are coming up as like you did this, but I don't get how or why? Do you want to sit on it a little bit and come back and try the practice? I'm going to stop recording.